Good morning, everyone. My name is Bernadette Hock, and on behalf of Clare County Council, I am delighted to welcome you all to this year's virtual event to mark Makeway Day 2020 here in County Clare. The purpose of today's event is to come together to consider the needs of people with disabilities in the public spaces we all share, and to raise public awareness about the issues which impact on their daily lives. Today's event is a live stream, so in the unlikely event of any technical difficulties, please be advised that a full recording of the event will be available on Clare County Council's YouTube channel after the event. I would like to thank the representatives from Clare Leader Forum, Shine, and the Irish Wheelchair Association for their very welcome engagement with Clare County Council in preparing for today's event. I would now like to hand over to our Chair, the Mayor of Clare, Cllr Mary Howard.
Good morning, everybody. I'd like to welcome you all and thank you for your virtual attendance. In addition to members of the public, a specific invitation was extended on behalf of the disability groups to engineering staff across the county, to representatives of the business community, and to representatives of Bus Éireann and others who have a key role to play in making our spaces accessible to all. I hope you will leave with an enhanced awareness of the impact that obstacles and access issues have on the lives of people with disabilities as they navigate public spaces daily. For those of you who may not be aware, the first national Makeway Day event was launched in 2018. In 2019, the elected members of Clare County Council approved Clare's participation in Makeway Day, where an online public awareness campaign was rolled out to generate awareness of local accessibility issues and concerns. While on the ground, people with disabilities were encouraged to get out and about, placing stickers that read, "Hey, this blocks my way," on obstacles that impacted their accessibility. This annual event is coordinated with the Disability Federation of Ireland, and this year, Clare is one of 29 local authorities who are hosting similar virtual events around the country in solidarity with local disability groups, their members and the wider community. It's a national day of local action where everyone has a role to play. The majority of issues are attributable to a lack of awareness. And that's why Makeway Day is so impactful. I hope that this year's event will ensure that the voices of people with disabilities are heard as they raise public awareness around access issues in public spaces from their lived experience of disability.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to introduce our first speaker, John Fulham of the Irish Wheelchair Association. John will discuss disabled parking in large retail outlets and general access issues in our towns and villages. Here is John's video.
Hello, my name is John Fulham and I'm delighted to be here today to talk to you on behalf of Irish Wheelchair Association. Firstly, I'd like to thank Mayor of Clare, Cllr Mary Howard and Clare County Council for inviting me to be part of the event today. I think it's a very important message that Clare County Council is hosting this event and is fully embracing and promoting the idea of supporting people with disabilities and raising awareness of the issues that face us every day. So thank you very much. IWA has a strong presence in Ennis through our centre and our staff there, and I'm delighted to represent our service coordinator, Catherine Early, Johnny Crawford and all the staff of Irish Wheelchair Association in talking to you today. Unfortunately, this is for all of us an online experience, so I will apologise in advance for my lack of comfort with doing these presentations in a recorded format and also for my lack of technical skills. So, why is Makeway Day important? And really for us to be able to talk to you today, I think we need to understand it in the context nationally. The state has signed up for the UNCRPD, which is the UN Convention for the Rights of People with Disabilities. And within that convention, the the convention states that people with disabilities have a right to live independent lives and to live independently and participate in all aspects of their life. So in doing so and signing up to this convention, Ireland has made a commitment to deliver and implement the convention in society as a whole. So within that, in terms of inclusion, Makeway Day, in terms of highlighting the issues that face people with disabilities every day, is very important in terms of raising awareness of the difficulties that we face. I'm a wheelchair user myself. You don't see it from the camera, but I am a wheelchair user myself. So what I would say to you is, when someone blocks a footpath, when someone puts a billboard in the way, when someone abuses a disabled parking space or fails to dish a footpath, what we're telling people with disabilities is that you don't count, that you don't matter, that you're not worthy or important enough to be included in the community that you live in. And could you just imagine yourself being in that situation where that you receive that message? That's a very difficult thing for people with disabilities to receive. So in terms of why is that important? So it's important that we raise awareness around these issues, and that's what Makeway Day is all about. And in terms of raising awareness, it's very important that we highlight the issues, because oftentimes the solutions are very easy. But actually, when you look at it, if you don't know what the issues are, how can you go about fixing them? How can you go about being truly inclusive as society? Because it's not just about Clare County Council, it's not just about you, it's about all of us in this together. Examples of what I'm talking about would be the abuse of disabled drivers' parking spaces. And what people don't understand is that the spaces are required for people who use wheelchairs or have mobility issues, and not only because they're in near proximity to the place we want to go, but also because we need wider spaces to be able to open the car door to get wheelchairs or walking aids out of the car, and that's just a practical reality. People often don't think about, when they put out their bins or they put out billboards, we're often faced with blockages. They're blocking the footpaths. People with mobility impairments have to go out on the road, which is not practical. It's dangerous for them. And you would see examples of footpaths being too narrow, or when roadworks are being done, that the repairs aren't done adequately, and that I suppose in terms of, I understand in Clare that Francis Street would have an issue where the footpath is too narrow in places, and then not dishing footpaths. So I think in terms of those practical examples, being able to get down off a footpath as a chair or walking aid user, and not being able to get up onto the footpath at the other side of the road, I experience that every day. And it's for us, it's that there would certainly be issues of that in Francis Street and Ennis and Bindon Street and Bank Place. So I think from a practical point of view, where there are some of the issues that we face, and what we also face as people with disabilities is the abuse and hostility that we get from the general public when we raise those. So when someone with a disability goes into town, cannot park, cannot access where they're going, they're being excluded from the community. So we're all in this together, and the solutions, as I said, aren't rocket science. In terms of, and at times they can be quite simple, but to be truly inclusive, you have to want to understand and put yourself in the shoes of the person at the other end to really understand their needs. We accept that Ennis is a historical town, and that all the solutions that may be challenging and difficult, we're all in this together. So I would recommend that to include people with disabilities. We're a community, so let's have all the stakeholders together at the very beginning, where we can plan such initiatives. We can plan, and we can get the points of view on the board. Certainly in terms of things that have worked in Clare and in Ennis. The pedestrianisation that arose from COVID was a very positive thing. Now, feedback is that it impacted business. So maybe if the pedestrianisation worked in terms of access, so maybe the compromise that can work to maintain the pedestrianisation but also meet the needs of the business involves communication from all stakeholders. And what is important, that we include everybody from the beginning and that everybody's point of view is heard. For IWA, we're part of the community in Ennis. We're only willing and able to be involved in making our contribution to solving these issues and to making Ennis and Clare a fantastic place to live, because it's our community and it's your community too, so we're all in this together. So I'd like to thank you for the ability, sorry, my technical spilling of the camera. I'd like to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you today, and I look forward to hearing the other presenters, and should there be any questions, please forward them to Clare County Council and we'll be happy to deal with them as part of the community.
Thank you, John. Our next guest speaker is Karen Fennessy, Age-Friendly Officer with Clare County Council. As part of her role, Karen was recently involved with 2 walkability studies, one in Ennis and one in Kilrush, and she is here today to give you an overview of both.
Hello. As part of the Clare Age-Friendly programme, 2 walkability studies were carried out in the towns of Ennis and Kilrush last year. The objective of the walkability studies was to increase awareness of the specific spatial needs of people with a wide range of ages and abilities. In both studies, the group of participants included a representation of older people, the Alzheimer's Society, as well as people with both mental and physical disabilities, including wheelchair users. Issues that were highlighted were the same in both towns and included the following: the need for provision of safe, accessible pedestrian crossing points with dished curbing and tactile paving. Footpath accessibility was an issue, particularly in Ennis, with sandwich boards and bins poorly located. Cars parked on footpaths created obstacles. Dog fouling on footpaths caused an issue to one of our wheelchair participants during the study. Rainwater pipes discharging onto footpaths. And there was a requirement for age-friendly parking in addition to disability parking close to shops and services. Both studies have been made available to the management of Ennis and Kilrush municipal districts, who have undertaken to build the recommendations into their respective 4-year work programmes. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Our next guest speaker is Anne-Marie Flanagan, the Regional Development Officer with Shine, who provides support for people affected by mental ill health. Anne-Marie will address the business community today and discuss pedestrianisation and mobility plans in our towns and villages. Here is Anne-Marie's video.
Hi there, Anne-Marie Flanagan. I have been a member of the organising committee for today, so it's great to be part of Make My Way. So many will know me. I have been a voice for the rights of disabled people in the county for a number of years. I myself am a wheelchair user. I'm also a professional and a mother. So in terms of looking at this issue around access and raising conscious awareness around creating equal spaces for everybody regardless of mobility or impairment, it's something that I just wanted to share to you. And I really want to engage with the businesses and towns of the businesses across the main town in Ennis and in the other towns and villages across the county. And I know that we're all concerned that the pandemic has actually had a huge impact on the economic well-being of our county and our country. The Clare County Council, as part of the safety measures, put a mobility plan for the town of Ennis. And for many of us, it proved to be hugely beneficial. And I just want you to know, in terms of the businesses and the Chamber of Commerce, who represents businesses, that we did hear you recently in making representation of the council around removing the mobility plan and allowing traffic to drive through the town. What I suppose we want to say is that we would love to engage with you more deeply around this. One of the questions we often have, those of us who think deeply about rights of disabled people and ourselves, is there still this idea that we don't spend money, that we are not part of the community, and so therefore we are not part of the solution to help indeed with the current circumstances. So it's a question I certainly have, and I know many other disabled people have as well. So to offer you this idea that our euro has equal value to a non-disabled person's euro. So if you think about it, when I park my car, I move around Innis and I do my business. So as I move around Innis in the last few months, I've been able to do so knowing that if somebody had to get off the narrow footpath that are the streets of Innis and onto the road to allow me to pass, then I'm not putting anybody in danger and other people are able to move freely. But the other, I suppose, important message is that when we are out and about doing our business, we, like everybody else, will do the business that we intend to do, shopping, banking, etc. But also we will have coffee, we will sit outside, we will meet people. And to be able to do that freely, without barriers, without traffic causing issues. And when an environment does not include everybody, what it often does is looks at the person with a mobility difficulty as the problem. And we're not the problem. The design is the problem. The narrow streets are the problem. The sandwich boards are the problem. Parking up on the footpath, that's the problem. So we just say to you, the businesses, work with all of us, and including people with disabilities and all the older people with mobility difficulties, to find solutions to these issues.
Thank you, Anne-Marie. Our next guest speaker is Pádraig Hayes, who is representing Clare Leader Forum. Pádraig will be speaking about public transport and Ennis bus and train station. But first, let's watch a short video he has prepared, re-access in his own hometown of Shannon.
Go along the main road from my house. This road, I find it very bumpy for the wheelchair. There's a lot of holes and it's on level ground, so you can just watch me as I go along. As you can see, the road is very up-level. It's all uneven. And if there's a car coming down this way and I'm going out, I kind of have to move over here. And as you can see, here it's full of holes. The ground. Very dangerous if I had to go in there in my wheelchair. Here is a footpath, but it's not accessible. There's no low curb for my wheelchair to access it. I want to talk here about the manhole.
Yeah.
If I was coming down the main road here in my wheelchair to go back to my home, there's a manhole here. If it was covered with leaves, I wouldn't see it, and it's very dangerous. I mean, why have all the green? There should be a footpath for people.
Yeah.
To come to Dr. Green's Hill, I just want to point out that there is no pedestrian crossing, and I feel for safety for myself in the future, there should be a pedestrian crossing provided. This is like the Makeway Day campaign that I'm going to be doing with the council. This bush is impeding myself and my wheelchair. I just want to talk about not being able to use a bus, because the 343 is the bus for Shannon, and it's not wheelchair accessible. And I'm very disappointed and angry in 2020 that Bus Éireann don't have accessible wheelchair buses for people that need to use them. that I want to be able to use public transport. I want to be able to apply for a job. I want to be able to contribute to society. I love meeting people, and I like to work and being able to get up and go out and fill my day with work. And not being able to have that opportunity due to transport, it's very disappointing in 2020. Good morning, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you here today. My name is Pádraig Hayes, and I am from Shannon. I am an intelligent and educated young man with hopes, dreams and ambitions like any other young man. I am also a wheelchair user. Unfortunately, this last fact is currently putting my hopes, dreams and ambitions on hold due to generations of neglect when it comes to accessibility and inclusion for wheelchair users, particularly in the area of transport and travel infrastructure. Firstly, I would like to ask Bus Éireann why you do not have wheelchair accessible buses in County Clare. Do you not think that a person with a disability would like to travel like everybody else? I would like to apply for a job, but because you do not have accessible buses, this is not possible for me. I would like to visit family and friends, go shopping and have a social life like everybody else. Secondly, I would like to ask Irish Rail about their train station in Ennis. Friends who have used the station tell me that they have to request to use the train at least a day before travelling because the platform it is on is not accessible for people with mobility issues. Could the installation of a lift improve this like in other stations? Finally, the Limerick-Shannon Metropolitan Area Transport Strategy 2040 is currently being drawn up. What assurance can you give me that we will be considered equal stakeholders when finalising its goals and objectives? With people with disabilities deserve the right to live our lives to the fullest of our potential. We have been sidelined for long enough. Thank you.
Thank you, Pádraig. Our next guest speaker is Cllr Mary, Access Officer with Clare County Council, who is here today to tell you a little about her role.
Hello everybody, and thank you for the introduction, Bernie. My name is Cllr Mary, and I welcome the opportunity to introduce myself here today as Access Officer with Clare County Council. My role as Access Officer is to provide assistance and guidance to people with disabilities who wish to access services provided by Clare County Council. If you have a particular issue or question in relation to a Clare County Council service or building, or if you are seeking information on how to access our services, then I am available to assist you with that. My contact details are available on the Clare County Council website, and my email address is ccorry@clarecoco.ie. On occasion, I do receive other inquiries. For example, the provision of additional public infrastructure, such as footpath improvements or provision of pedestrian crossings. In cases such as these, I ensure your query is referred to the relevant municipal district manager so that it can be considered as part of future work programmes and budget provisions. I welcome taking the opportunity of Makeway Day to highlight my role within Clare County Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Cllr. The final presentation today is from 21-year-old Orla Platin from Quinn in County Clare. You may have heard about Orla, or indeed read about Orla, who set herself a goal in May of this year to cycle 21 kilometres in 21 days to raise funds for the Irish Wheelchair Association here in County Clare. We are delighted to have Orla present with us here today, and Orla, with assistance from her mother Jean, has provided us with a short video presentation of accessibility in our county town, which we will now show. thanks to Orla and her mother Jean for their contribution in raising public awareness of some of the issues in our county town. I will now hand over to the Mayor of Clare to summarise today's event and to outline how together we can continue to raise public awareness around all these issues.
Thank you, Bernie. Before I get into my concluding remarks, I'd also like to thank Orla for assisting me in the promotion of today's event. I'd like to thank all of our guest speakers for their presentations, and I wish to commend them for their time and effort they have put into planning this year's event in Clare and their clarity around the key issues of concern for them, which has informed us all here today. To summarise the main points of conversation: abuse of disabled car parking spaces and parking on footpaths, sandwich boards, inaccessible public transport, overgrown hedges, accessible infrastructure in our towns and villages countrywide. The video clips speak 1,000 words, and while I acknowledge the focus has been on Ennis and Shannon, I would imagine that similar issues are impacting on the lives of people with disabilities on a daily basis around the county. In raising the issues and having those in attendance here today, we have the power to address the issues. We've already engaged in the process of changing attitudes and behaviours. All of this content will be made available for use by the various networks in the county to continue to raise public awareness throughout the year. You can have your say on Makeway Day by sharing posts on social media and using the hashtag Makeway Day. You can also email your thoughts, opinions or concerns to makewayday@clarecoco.ie. I would like to thank Mairead, who's been assisting us here today, for her time and her patience. And just before I conclude, I want to wish you all the best. I look forward to meeting you over the next year while my year being mayor, and I'll ask you in these COVID times to remember the simple rules: wash your hands, wear your mask, keep your distance, avoid crowds and stay home as much as you can. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. That concludes our virtual event for Makeway Day 2020 here in County Clare. I'd like to thank you all for your attendance here today, and I hope that you are leaving with an enhanced awareness of the local issues that are affecting the lives of people with disabilities here in County Clare. Remember, we all have a role to play. Thank you.